Oh my fucking God. You know, you do one staff get together, half of us are hungover to the point where we can't even show up, and the other guy's complaining that everything's too fucking loud. Welcome to the program. My name is Dean. It's time for the show. Please welcome my very good friend from sadvocacy.com, lawyer, journalist, gonzo, super boss woman, Caryma Saad, ladies and gentlemen. She's back at Caryma Rules on Twitter. We've also got King Glizzy down there on the left-hand side, otherwise known as Chris Rook, and Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. It's like the day after we all have a staff function, and we've never really had a staff function because we started this legitimately at the start of the fucking pandemic. And yesterday we all went to a Jays game and for dinner. Lochlin is MIA after a fucking terrible radio show this morning, by the way. He was nonverbal at like 7:30. Caryma has shown up because she and I have found the value of harm reduction in cannabis. Ryan Lindley is literally on like fucking death's doorstep, and I can see the sweat. He's actually got hair of the dog today, and who knows what Chris is doing. I know he's got an announcement today, but it's really nice that everybody's here. Let's start with Linz. Linz, how you feeling? You were deep last night. You and I carpooled together. You came back with me, and today you're fucking hanging. Is that what I'm saying? Are you hanging this morning? Was it a long drive home?
No.
I woke up and you were fucking gone, by the way. It was actually funny.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be here, but you were gone already.
I didn't want to overstay my welcome. I figure I'd better not spend my entire day crashed on the boss's couch when I can just do that at home. So
right.
I came home and had a nap. I felt pretty good, actually. I don't feel that bad. Lochlin, on the other hand, holy shit.
Not good.
No, you should have heard him. I don't know if you're on Instagram, guys, but if you are, make sure you follow Lochlin Cross and check out his videos from this morning while he was getting himself prepped for the show. While he was finding
random videos.
Oh yeah, he was finding random hot dog, loony dogs all over his clothing.
Yeah.
Had to start his day with a nice big bottle of water.
Yeah,
and he sounded like death warmed over. So.
He was
Edmonton.
Yeah, dude. I've never seen it. Like he got to Toronto and it was like game on. It was almost like everybody gets like when they haven't been to Jamaica like ever, and they show up and they're on that bus on the way from the airport to Jamaica, and they're like, "How many beers would you like, sir? 30, please." Oh, the ride's only 2 hours. I don't care. I'm gonna drink them as hard and fast as I can. That was Lochlin last night. But yeah, he fucking sounded rough this morning. That was one of those radio shows where if his boss was listening, he was going, maybe an intervention.
We might have to talk about this. Yeah, it was compelling radio this morning over there on Cruise.
Yeah. How about you, Glitzy? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I worked half the day today, got up early, wrote a blog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. Chappelle show. Dave
Went
Chappelle
for
got
a 5 kilometer
yesterday.
Run.
No, you didn't. That's a fucking lie. You didn't go for 5 kilometers.
I did not do that. I did not do that.
And you, Caryma? Obviously, you're like me. You don't drink a whole lot, but fuck, it was funny because when we got there, you were like choking back the stiffest rye rum I've ever seen in my life. It was like a 4-finger rum.
4 fingers.
They were heavy-handed with that, yeah.
Yeah, we met at Barbarians. I told everybody it was Fuddruckers because I didn't want people to come and kick the shit out of us.
Yeah, we've been taking a lot of heat on Twitter today.
Why is that?
Oh, we're all anti-maskers now, and we're a bunch of hypocrites. And
that was fucking fascinating because we went for dinner, went to Barbarians, best steakhouse in the city of Toronto. If you haven't been, you have to go. It was fucking incredible. So 6 of us, right? We all show up and we sit down, we eat. None of us are wearing masks. No one in there is wearing masks. Private room. Yeah, we've got all the stuff that we need. The servers were all wearing masks, which is nice. They didn't have to, but they all had to. But nobody in there was wearing it. I'm like, fuck, this is like a new reality. It's like a new lease on life. Then we go to the game, and some people are wearing masks, some are not. And I don't want to get into this mask discussion, Caryma, but I said this to someone on the phone today because I didn't see that we took heat. Someone's like, hey, you might want to address all the people that are calling you guys anti-maskers for having, because we took a ton of pictures of ourselves at the game, right? Like this is Caryma. She caught a ball the second we left, which is pretty much exactly how my life works out on a daily basis. The
Bullshit.
second I leave,
Absolute
something
bullshit.
good happens to someone who stays there. There's Caryma with a ball. But like, I was shocked not only how many people weren't wearing masks, but how comfortable I was with the idea that, listen, this is a big open space. We stayed on the concourse. We sat literally behind, everybody on the first level or the first deck where you can go down to the first baseline. And no one was wearing masks. Everybody seemed to be having a good time. I wasn't overly concerned, but it was amazing because apparently we got hammered by the anti-mask community for like, and everybody's like, look at those guys. Now they're anti-mask. Did you see any of it? Because I fucking didn't. I was too busy being normal.
Hammered. There's one account who now they have something apart from me posing with Trish Stratus to use as ammunition. And they just keep repeating the same post over and over again. So I would say most reasonable people don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well,
I'll apply some logic to this.
Yeah, please.
How am I supposed to stuff my face with loony dogs with a mask on?
That's a great question.
Because it wasn't.
Because I don't know about you guys, but if you ever try to eat a hot dog with a mask on, it doesn't work very well.
No, but like no one is even wearing them going in too, right? Like I had mine with me, and then we met friends of yours. Like we all had our masks with us, right? Just in case someone's like, "Hey, I really." Yeah, we did. You didn't because you're a fuck.
We definitely didn't forget our mask in the truck.
No, we didn't. No. But I had mine with me, and it was funny because when you had friends that came in that were maskers, and still are uncomfortable not wearing a mask, which is absolutely I agree with it, but they wouldn't take the mask off to talk to me when we were talking to them, so I slipped mine on real quick to talk to them.
I didn't.
Right? Is that not what we? I know you didn't because you don't give a fuck. But is that not? What's that?
I texted him and I said, "What's up with the drywall masks?" Because looks like the ones that the guys wear when they're drywalling. Like, did they run out of the regular ones? You guys had to get them from the drywallers outside.
Steal some from your construction guys that are doing your basement.
Did you notice they were drywall ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Contract supply.
Contractors.
But did you not like? Let me oppose it for the table. Caryma, you get out way more than me, right? Like I was saying to someone yesterday, I said, I feel like I know what it's like to be let out of a penitentiary now. Because when we went out for dinner, it was weird. We're walking around having a good time. Then you walk in with Jay's game, and there's like no restrictions, no nothing. I'm like quadruple vaccinated. We're all super vaccinated with the exception of King Glizzy. He doesn't give a shit, and that's fine with me because he's got all kinds of medical issues that he can't get it, like legitimate medical issues. But do you not like think differently now when you go out, Caryma? Like when you're out in public, like you're at a Jays game, like do you not think, like, oh my God, this is like, I far be it for me to be positive, but I was fucking grateful to be out, not wearing a mask, enjoying myself.
Ditto.
I mean, it's hard to know what to feel or think because I don't really know sort of what the numbers or data are anymore. And so, it like the mandates or restrictions are what they are. Generally speaking, just being around a lot of strangers, I see the appeal in potentially keeping a mask on. But that wasn't what was happening. And if it is sort of the airborne ventilation, like the dome wasn't open yesterday, but it is a really big space. So I don't know. I say this as a completely unscientific opinion, but it is sort of a, okay, things are kind of normal, but what does that actually mean? I don't know.
And it wasn't packed either last night. The stadium wasn't packed at all. It was It was comfortable. Like there was enough. Like we had our own spot. It almost felt like a box where we were. It was really nice. So, and I agree with you. I felt grateful to enjoy it, and it wasn't the first thing in my mind anymore.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna wear one when I go to the grocery store or whatever. But that I actually felt more comfortable there than I did when I'm in an aisle walking down with people in the grocery store. It was weird.
Yeah.
I also feel like every sip of alcohol, the mask just slides down like 1 inch.
A little more. Yeah.
A little more. And then by the time you've dusted like 6 or 7 beers, it's around your neck and then it's in your pocket. And, and we're basically outside at the Rogers Center. It's such a big space. So that's how I look at it. That's what I said to Ryan. We talked about it in the beer line. 'Cause I said to Locke, I'm like, that picture where you're passed out in Edmonton with your hands folded, wearing a mask outside. Like, why aren't you wearing one here? And he's like, I don't know. I just feel comfortable here. And
like he feels like he didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Well, dude, he was so fucking wasted by the time we got there. It was like, you know what I was thinking when we got there? I'm like, okay, it's the first inning. We all walked in together. All of us took a cab, an Uber with Caryma. And there's like 6 of us, and we roll into this thing, and I'm like, I bet she doesn't make it to the 4th inning. And I'll give it to every single person that interacted with him yesterday. He was boorish, he was loud, he was funny, he was annoying. He tried to get a Yankee fan and a fucking Jays fan to legitimately fight right in the middle of the 3rd inning. And when he saw that things were getting a little hot, he just retreated and started double fisting beers and then pretended like he had nothing to do with it yesterday. Did you guys notice that? Like Caryma did, like when the Yankee fan, so the Yankees, they tie it up in like the 3rd on a bomb from Aaron Judge, and the Yankee fans started chirping the Jays fans where we were standing on the first baseline in the outfield. And all of a sudden, Lochlin starts yelling, and he leans into my ear, and you know what he says? He goes, "I'm going to get this guy beat up."
He was the puppet master for sure. I could see that.
Yeah, he's so loud.
Do you want to see how he was by like the 5th inning? This is in the 5th inning. This is Lochlin Cross, who has declined to join us today because he is not feeling well. Because last night when we got to hoops, which by the way, guaranteed I have COVID. If you were in hoops
After
last night,
there's
no ventilation in that place.
I was not.
No.
It was 99 fucking degrees in that restaurant.
Yeah,
it was
and
gross.
packed. But anyway, and I had a little gas, so the people around us were a little upset. Long story short, I don't want to talk about it. What I
don't want to talk
about
about it either.
Lochlin was legitimately nonverbal, and if he was here, it's because he did 2 things last night that impressed me. He was able to continue operating in like some type of conscious state after the 5th inning, which was amazing. And then, and I'll get to the other thing that he did in just a second. But watch, this is Lochlin. This is Lochlin.
It's already cold.
I want you to listen to this video, Caryma. And if you're watching this on YouTube, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube or Dean Blundell TV on Twitch, this is a guy who desperately is trying to not look drunk. But in the interaction, he gives it all away because I don't even ask him how he's doing, and he's trying to tell us he's fine. This is awesome.
How you doing, bud? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
You got a hot dog from the road? Oh, pocket glizzy. Pocket glizzy. You might need 2. You might need 2. 2 hot dogs.
I got some fat guy juice too.
Oh, look at fat guy jizz. Everything.
Look at that face. That is the face of a man who is 12 out of 10 wasted and still able to have a decent conversation and operate, but not really. This is when the wheels fell off, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be when the wheels fell off. Then when we got to hoops, we went to hoops for a couple of pints, right? I'm the DD because I don't drink, so no problem. We'll go for pints. Ryan and Locke have a bunch of pints. And as soon as we get there, his wife shows up and his daughter. And they walk in, sit down, and I look at Lachlan's wife, Deb, and she does this. She goes, "Oh, this is not good." "Oh, this is not good." And I go, "What's that?" And she looks at me, and Lachlan's looking at me with this big smile on his face. You know when you're drunk and your eyes kind of go sideways a little bit, and you're like this? Like that. He's like, and she goes, "That's not good." And I'm like, "Oh, that? No, that's terrible."
I'm convinced. I am convinced that is not his family. Those are his court-appointed guardians. They came in right at the right time. Someone got paged, and they come in to swoop him up and like put him back in the cupboard for the day.
Yeah,
and let him out again.
Yeah. But a fun time was had by all, and I was fully.
He had a good time.
Oh, dude, he had a blast, and I was fully expecting a scrap yesterday too. Like I thought, fuck, there's no way he's not going to fight this guy. And sure enough, he not only didn't fight the guy, like he started a fight with a Yankees fan, and then backed up and pointed to the Jays fan next to him, and he's like, "It was him." Is that not what he did? Basically, last night while we were watching, is that not what he did? That's exactly what he did.
He was disturbing the shit a little bit, yeah.
Were you uncomfortable with him at any point in time?
No, I couldn't even tell.
No.
I thought that was just what he was like.
I just thought he was this disruptive asshole all the time. Well, one thing that he did during the dinner, which, listen, we all went for dinner, had a lovely time.
Yeah.
I've been out for dinner with people thousands of times. I've been out for dinner with people much older than him, and they've never done this. Go for dinner with my parents, they don't do this. I go for dinner with friends, they don't do this. It's like when you go for dinner and everybody's got, there's 6 of us, so you got to pay the bill. You split it 6 different ways. There was one of us that pulled out their calculator.
Like Morty Seinfeld.
Not I.
One of us.
Yeah.
One of us pulled out our calculator. And do you know who it was?
Yeah, better
That guy. That guy.
I love
he
him.
went through it line for line with the waiter standing right next to him for 20 minutes because he was shelled.
You
And
forgot
he's
he also asked his name 6 times.
Yeah,
Yes.
and his name's Babu.
Yeah.
The guy who served us. And it's a very distinct name, right? Like if I said to a waiter, "What's your name, sir?" which I always do, introduce myself. My name's Babu. I go, "Very distinct name. Nice to meet you, Babu. I'm Dean." Locke asked him his name not once, not twice, not 3 times, but like 6 times.
He does this to people on our podcast network. You
He
know
does.
this. Like people he sees on a constant basis. I'm surprised he remembers my name still.
And then he would repeat his name back to him louder each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just got incrementally louder. By the 6th time, he might as well have screamed his name in his face.
Then we get in the Uber, which is actually Caryma's Uber.
Oh my god.
And Lochlin has a 2.1 Uber ride sharing, 2.1 stars on his Uber ride sharing profile. Like he is the worst Uber rider in the entire fucking
We learned
country.
why.
Yeah. And he starts grilling this guy and going insane in the car about the cost of living in Canada. Like he's an old guy at a Tim Hortons in Rosetown, Saskatchewan with all his farmer friends complaining about life. And he goes on and on and on. And there is so much traffic. And at one point I'm like, dude, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all about how much it costs for a coffee now as opposed to 10 years ago, Locke. Like, nobody cares. He was the most entertaining. If you get a chance to drink with this guy ever in your life, you have to go out for a night with Lachlan Cross. It was one of the most eye-opening, funny, outgoing, fucked up experiences I have ever had in my life. And I know now why he's so popular in Edmonton, because when he gets wasted, he might be the most fun, nonverbal person you've ever hung out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like ever.
You don't need the audio, but the audio helps. And the thing with that Uber guy is it wasn't even the content of the conversation, it was the volume. Like
So loud.
he called shotgun, sat up front with the Uber guy, was this far away. You know what? This is fucked. The poor guy's just trying to drive.
He was that guy. There's that classic drunk dude who gets in the Uber with an Uber driver. He leans in like way too close. He's like, you know, the government's fucking us every day, right, bud? Every day. And we're all
My
like,
rating has declined by 0.1.
did it decline by 0.1 after
Seriously?
yesterday?
No.
Oh,
I apologized to the Uber driver on our way
Yeah.
out, though. I said sorry
Yes.
for my Edmonton friend. He's not from here.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to speak Toronto. My
it was
bad.
so good.
Oh, fuck, dude. But fun night. A lot of fun. Everybody had a good time. Just in case you wanted to go and have a look at what that was like, you can go to deanblundell.com. There's a couple little posts up there in our Twitter feeds. It was nice, dude. It was just nice. Like, and I fucking hate the fact that I have to look at going to a Blue Jays game. Well, do I hate it? Or am I like a different person when I'm like grateful to be at a Blue Jays game as opposed to looking at it like it's a fucking burden? Like, it's been a long time, dude. It's like, I legitimately felt like I was let out of jail yesterday, and like I put cologne on, I shaved, I put on deodorant.
Nice.
I don't think I smelled terrible. I
Let's
trimmed all the
back that
hair that I
train
needed
up.
to trim.
Yeah,
What, did I
it's-
not smell great?
After
Yeah,
the,
no.
the 6th inning, you started to smell a little bad.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You were
Just-
keeping our area clear and exclusive for us, that's for sure.
I had a little gas.
Yeah, a little.
I had
The
a little
entire
gas.
city of Toronto knows now. It was something
Well,
else.
I was, if you don't, okay, I'll tell the story because it was.
You
I had a
should.
little gas yesterday. Yeah, I had French onion soup and the tomato salad at Barbarians, guys.
Jesus. Here, I'll give you some gas music.
Yeah.
You and I both have a French onion soup. We both like French onion soup. I don't know if it did the same thing to you that it did to me, but it's unladylike to ask.
I had the same meal and I was fine, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dean
I
was
don't
not
think I
fine.
was.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I was fine.
I was. So we get to the. I have the tomato salad, the French onion soup, and I feel a rumble. So I'm like, so weird. And I ate fairly healthy,
Yeah.
And so we get to the Jays game. I wasn't feeling awesome in the car, the Uber, but I'm like, we're in an Uber with 8 people. Probably don't grease one, Dean. That's a terrible thing to do. So we get to the game, and then that became a game within a game. Like, how can I do this not around Caryma?
So he came to me and Ryan.
Yeah. Sat in our laps almost.
It's funny because at one point he's like, "I'm talking to Caryma. Obviously, I didn't fart."
Like that's
And then
like that's
spun around
that's a
and, walked
reason.
through the air. But
Yeah, you
this
farted,
makes
man.
sense, actually.
Oh, hold it. No, Caryma, tell that story because they accused me of farting as you and I
I
were
don't
having a
think you
very
were.
intellectual conversation, and I did not fart.
It was. We were talking some deep stuff. Very
Yeah.
important.
Business.
Subject
We're talking
matter.
business is what we're talking. The business of like real journalism, the business of life. And you guys accused me of farting, and I had to literally wave my big coat around and do a circle and go, "See, no wafting."
It was
There's
probably
no
sweaty
waftage.
Vlad Jr. and Vlad Jr. beside us
No.
Yeah.
that farted. Just the one
But
time
it-
if it wasn't
That
you.
one time.
It's one of those things that, like, when I know I'm not feeling great and I know I got to go out in public, I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this somehow, whether it's a closed elevator of people I don't know or leaving a trail and having people walk behind me. I actually get a kick out of it. And that did happen a couple times.
Yeah.
But-
it was oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And he's
Hang on,
wearing
Locke. I'm just going to finish this story before we get to your 12 bell hangover and how you're feeling. So we had the Locke and Ryan and Chris. They all went to go get beers for everybody and come back. And in the meantime, these two guys, a father-son team, older father-son, not like a little kid because I'd never grease a kid, but like an older father-son team, took their spots. And I'm like, what do I do? And then I realized I've got some action in the chamber that I could use. So I kind of made my way over there. And with my back to them, I just proceeded to relieve myself over and over and over again to the point where indeed they did leave after these guys came back. And as soon as they stood back in their original spots, Lochlin, Ryan, Chris, they're like, "You're disgusting. You're a fucking pig." And I said to them this way, "You guys are only standing here because I don't feel great. So you should fucking thank me."
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's
You
our
had
fault.
some bad ass yesterday.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Lochlin Cross.
Welcome back.
How you feeling? We were just talking about you being nonverbal by like 9:30.
That's a typical move for me usually. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we just saw the video.
yeah, I can get like that. I probably didn't need to drink 30 beer last night. I felt awful this morning.
Did you? How was that?
Awful.
Dude, do you remember when Deb showed up to Hoops, by the way, the most unventilated bar in the entire city? And she's like, you know what she said to me? She looked at me and did one of these. She goes, "This isn't good." And I said, "What's not good?" And she goes, "That guy's not good." And this was all, I looked over at you and you're like this.
Just shittered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? I think it was the
Here we
beer
go.
at
Yep.
Barbarians,
Mhm.
right? And then I was off of my normal, like my diet beers, which I know like I can control that. So when we got going at and Rook and I don't know, we were there about 30, 40 minutes before anybody else.
Yeah, we were.
Him and I just started just pounding. Yeah. And then it just sort of maintained from there. I think I had about 4 or 5 beer at the game, and they're the tall boys too. Yeah. So
4 or
dude,
5?
there's
Is that what you
4 or
said?
5.
4
Dude,
or
you
5?
had about You had about 14 or 15.
We spent more time in the lineup, Lochlin, than we
Yeah.
did watching the game.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
I think the 8 loony hot dogs you crushed during the course of the game as well probably feeds into how you're feeling.
A little
But
bit. Yeah.
How
Those
do
are
you
good-
how do you
good
rank this
dogs.
hangover? Where do you? Yeah, really good hot dogs. How do you rank this hangover? By the way, is it top 10 in your life?
no,
Top
no.
5? No. Just a slight annoyance. We listened to part of your show this morning. You legitimately sounded like you were having a stroke for half the program.
Yeah, I did. I managed to get up though, and I went downstairs to grab a coffee. Starbucks is closed. Not open until 8 o'clock. I'm like, what's going on? That's weird.
Toronto.
Anyway, so I came up. I didn't have a coffee or food, so I drank like 4 waters and took a fistful of Advil.
You had a
And,
glizzy.
yeah.
Should have ate your glizzy, your pocket glizzy.
I was gonna eat it.
When did you
And then
find
my
your hood
wife-
glizzy?
I had one in my pocket.
Yeah, you did.
And then there was one in the back of my hood too.
Yeah, there was.
I don't know. I must have wandered around with it because we left the game and then we went to hoops, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it managed to stay, but it did. She hung on.
At one
Because
point, you put your
somebody
hood up.
Someone texted me and said, "Did you find the one in the hood?" And then I think it might have been you, Ryan.
I
No, it was
texted the
Rook.
show, actually.
No, I
Yeah.
would never. I want that to be there today. That
Yeah.
was my goal.
Yeah, and it was there.
It was there, so I ran and took a look. I'm like, I got two souvenirs from the game. Not a hat, not a ball,
Some meat.
not a jersey, a couple of hot dogs.
And some fat guy dip.
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
I
dude.
had a pocket full of mayonnaise too, which is
Yeah, dude, you want to
That's a
see
great
that? This
idea.
is we can help you relive that moment. Actually, this is the moment where you told me. This is when I'm like, he's gone, bro. He's gone.
How you doing, bud? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
You got a hot
You got a hot dog in your hood? Is that what he said?
That's what I said. I tried to tip you off early, but you missed it.
Look at that face. It's, oh, fuck.
That's just bliss. That's a face of bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I didn't even.
You might need 2.
Look at this.
2 hot dogs. That's what
I got some fat guy juice too.
Oh, look at fat guy jizz. Everything.
I got like 10 there at the end, towards the end. Actually, that might have saved me. That might have saved me because I think it soaked up a lot of the booze, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Well, you had 8 hot dogs. Like we counted during the evening. You had 8 hot dogs on top of a 16-ounce steak at Barbarians, on
Yeah.
top of probably close to 30 beers. And I remember because
Oh my God, that
on the way
Barbarians
home, I
was
was
so
talking to
good.
Ryan, and he's like, "I don't think the human stomach's supposed to take that much food." Like I'm pretty sure. So we wanted to make sure you're okay. And I know
I'm
that
an
you're all
eater.
dressed up, right?
like,
Yeah.
like I can go. Like I've been in some competitions and done okay in the eating thing. I
Are
told
you
you
on
about
your way
the
to a
Cinco de
bail
Mayo.
hearing?
What's that? No,
You on your
it's
way
my
to a bail hearing?
daughter's. It's my daughter's thing. It's her. This thing
Yeah.
today.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's
right.
film
she's a film
festival.
student. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got a film. So his daughter, Lochlin's daughter, this is what he's in town for. He didn't actually come to town for this. Although I will say this, he landed about an hour and a half before we were all having dinner and didn't see his daughter until she showed up to see us at like 11:30 last night, which is like a fucking parenting boss move. Like, listen, I'm here for you. I'm gonna come and watch your stuff. Dad's going to a Jays game. He's gonna go out with his work friends. He's gonna tie one on. But then she showed up to the bar after, and she could be one of the most electric young people I've ever met in my life. Like, this kid
Great.
has the personality of like 10 different people. She's the most
Yeah.
charismatic, outgoing, smart, well-adjusted human being that I've ever met in my life, which lends credence to and I met Deb last night, his lovely wife, and I'm like, oh, I'm putting this all together now. So she gets that kind of craziness from you, but she gets that centered, normal, like, fuck, let's go make this work from your lovely wife, who,
Yeah.
by the way, is just a sweetheart. Like, I don't know that
Yeah.
I've met a nicer person. So, but how were they this morning with your hangover? Okay, you're all right.
Well, I just literally got up. I hopped in the shower and then I started doing the show. And then they were at my wife. They were out running errands and doing things. They went to the CN Tower. So yeah, they were doing
Or-
some touristy stuff today.
All right.
While I
But
was-
she's
while
got
I
a
was on the
movie,
show.
right? She's got a movie, like a short film.
Yeah,
called
Pimento.
Yeah,
Pimenta.
Yeah.
Pimenta, and it's the feature film. They actually put her film on. They're showing it last tonight at the festival, and they put her film up on the billboards
That's awesome.
to advertise it. Yeah, I guess the place was packed last night. There was like 500 people at this thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
They changed the name of Ryerson for some reason. I think it had something to do with the residential, his connection to the residential
right.
schools thing.
Egerton Ryerson was a huge. In fact, he helped implement the residential school program in this country. Yeah, so he can
I
fuck
think
off.
they tore down a statue and they've named the. I don't know if it's on here, so I apologize for
Toronto
using
Metro-
Ryerson. Yes,
Toronto Metropolitan University now.
Yes, I apologize. I should be using that name, which is unfortunate because I mean, that the school has like obviously a reputation outside of him, right? If you tell somebody that you went to Ryerson, it means something, right? To people in the film industry. If she, Metropolitan University means nothing to anybody, but I get it. I mean, she understands why they had to change.
I didn't even know. Did you know that, Caryma? It was called
I had
Toronto
no idea.
Metropolitan University, that they'd completed
It's
that
not
name
like a
change?
week or two ago. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
fairly new.
It's very
I think.
new.
I mean, the new name will eventually take on whole traction, right? So
Yeah.
just give it a bit of time.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know they had officially renamed it. Like, that's the first time I've heard about it. It is literally on
I
this
think
program.
the Board of Governors, I think, still needs to approve or finalize, or maybe that just happened, but it's been in the works. And actually, I was there at the statue toppling, taking pictures.
Oh, were you? That was the one where they literally cut the dude's head off, right, and then threw it in the lake. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was funny. Yeah, and it was cool because there was like a bunch of indigenous people that had literally gone through the residential school program that he actually helped institute in this country a couple hundred years ago. Before we tried to bury it and pretend he was some kind of fucking hero, and all the white supremacists are like, well, it's just a statue. And then you've got these people that literally lived that nightmare, carrying his head down to the pier and beating the shit out of it with hammers and like pushing it into the water and stuff. It was fucking great. But so good. I'm really happy that it's called Toronto Metropolitan University. And your daughter's going to be one of the first graduates, and she's got a short film called Pimenta, which is incredible, right?
We're actually heading out right away here in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I think. Everyone's just getting ready, and I just wanted to pop on. Listen, I wanted to thank you guys. That was a fun night. That was a great dinner.
Real fun night.
That was an awesome night. I really, really hope that you guys, especially you, Rook, felt as bad as I did today.
No.
Really?
That's not how it works, man.
Dude,
you got
you're like
superhuman now?
55 years
I
old
do.
or something.
Yeah.
Like your hangovers
55.
are whatever,
62.
nuclear. I'm 52. The
Yeah.
older you get, the worse the hangovers are. He's only like 30 years old, dude.
Ryan,
You see-
how was your hangover?
I was tired this morning. I think it was more the fact that Dean made us take a 5-kilometer fucking walk from the hoops back to the car.
Yeah, dude's like,
I
we're
think
gonna
that
take an Uber. I'm like, no, dude, it's only like a few blocks. It was like 2 kilometers. Like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. But then I realized it was
kilometers.
all uphill too. Like, and
I have
then
a
by the time we
blister
got
on the
there-
bottom of my foot now, thanks to you.
You are
and
very
some
exercise
questionable,
adverse.
Yeah.
questionable
Listen,
people we met on the way.
I was trying to help you and me get a little fucking exercise after
Yeah.
a night of debauchery. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. Well,
I
Thanks,
woke
Dad.
up this morning and I had this recording on my phone, and I'm like, "What the hell? Why? What is this? Oops!" Like I didn't even know the name of the restaurant when I got home, and then I hit the recording, and it's the toilet sound effect.
Yeah.
We're doing a contest on the locker room right now where we're giving away a bidet a day in May, and we've been recording toilet noises, and we tell people they have to guess what the toilet noise, like where it's from, right? So I've got all these on my phone, but I didn't know this one. I didn't recognize the name of it. It just said York Street because it's just on my memo in my voice memos or whatever recordings. So I listened to it and I'm like, oh, I must have taken a leak or a dump at Hoops last night.
You did.
yeah.
And then recorded it on my phone for the contest next week. So we're going to have a Toronto themed bidet a day in May giveaway.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to tell.
You dropped the deuce at the stadium last night.
Herculean move.
I knew I did that one.
That's
Yeah,
a power move, dude. Like to come to the Rogers Center and use it to do a number 2 the second you get there. There aren't many people that brave.
I had to. I did it. I did quite a. There was a lot of maintenance involved in the one at the at Rogers Place, but it's a dead giveaway. I'm going to play it for you because of the noise of the.
Was that a toot at the end?
Did you shit your pants at the end?
Did you rip one at the end there?
Play that again. Is that you?
I might have been. I don't know.
I think that's a
I
part of
love
it.
the noise. You can hear the crowd.
Yeah. And then the flush.
All right, here it comes. It's either the toilet making a noise or me.
That's you, bro.
You were so faced by that point in time. You have no way of knowing, though, which is incredible. I'm just shocked that you remember actually doing that. Listen, we'll let you go. I know you got to get to your daughter's premiere, and you got
That
a big
was
day.
fun last night. All right,
Please-
I think I've
please
got
so
I got some free time on Friday. We're gonna try to hook up again, right?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We'll all be coming down, and we're gonna have dinner. So we'll see you on
All
Friday.
right. Okay,
All right, brother.
All
We'll
right.
talk to you soon.
Take care.
There you
Good
go.
to see you guys.
Good to
See
see
you,
you
pal.
too. That was fun. He's. I'm glad he's alive. That's one of
Yeah.
those. I thought for sure
He
this
cleaned
morning.
up real good today. He looks.
Not bad. Yeah.
looks
His
fresh.
wife does that for him. Literally. Make sure he has clean clothes. Make sure he irons. And she just points him in different directions. He's literally like a robot where she's like, well, just go that way. And he's like, all right, I'll show up to that thing. And he has no idea half the time. And he'll tell you this too. He's one of those really good dudes who's like, half the time I don't even know where we're going or why. She just tells me I got to show up. And then I realize I'm not having a good time. But this is his daughter's thing, and she's graduating, and it's her short film. So we wish her all the best as well. Which is like, if you met her last night, she's just a superstar. You would have loved her, Caryma. She's like smart, sharp, outgoing. She's going to be like Francis Ford Coppola and puts up with none of his shit either. Neither does his wife, to be honest with you. So, yeah, he's so gruff. Like all those guys like you meet, they're gruff until you meet their wife, and you're like, she runs this fucking show, right? That's how I felt when I watched it.
That was the power dynamic in that house was revealed last night.
Yeah. Oh,
clearly, very
she
clearly.
is the pants.
Yeah.
She is the pants, and like deserves to be the pants because he is legitimately
But he needs
lost.
it.
Yeah. Did you see him last night? Nonverbal, 8:00. That's why she's around. Anyway, speaking of fun times, Chris has a quick announcement. We've got some other stuff to pivot to, but Chris Rook and his lovely wife have an announcement. Chris, I would love you to make it on the show if that's okay. There you go.
My wife is pregnant.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You
Thank you,
delivered the
folks.
goods.
That's why I pulled the plug last night at 10:30 to go home. When you guys went to hoops, I ran to the train to catch it at 10:15
Yeah.
because
You had to be home.
I had to be home. As you
Yeah.
said, you've met Lindsay before. She definitely runs the ship. Same
She's the
sort of deal as
pants, the
well.
shirt, and the shoes, actually. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're super excited, and gonna definitely be having a dad panel come up soon, so you guys can give me all the advice.
Advice
Yeah.
from like
Oh,
how to
what?
be a dad.
Just like fun stuff. I don't know. We'll turn it into content. You guys can
Just don't
figure
be
it
an
out.
asshole.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's the key to parenting.
Yeah. And here's a rule. When you're mad at your kid, that's when you got to love them the most. Don't be an asshole. Do everything you can for them and raise them to leave. Don't raise them to stay.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
All right, there you
Yeah.
go.
And just
Super
and
simple.
remember the next 16 years, it's not about you anymore. 16 to 18 years, it's nothing to do with you. It's
Yeah.
all about that kid. So
Good.
That's right. Yeah. Well, congratulations. How's she feeling? She feeling all right?
Yeah, she's feeling good. She's actually in your neck of the woods for the next couple of days because she stays
Oh, is
there because she
Yeah.
just can't handle the drive back and forth. So she's there. So it's 3 days of just me.
Morning sickness? She get morning
Yes.
sick? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she
Oh,
any
yeah.
weird aversions to anything?
Meat.
Meat?
Last night at Barbarians was the first meat I had since she's been pregnant because any raw meat, sees it, smells it, chicken,
No good.
it's just right to the washroom. Like can't
Yeah.
handle it. So it's been veggies and that's it. Bread.
Veggies and bread. That's
Yeah,
all you gotta
yeah.
eat. Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Any weird
So,
cravings? Like, is she like sending you to Arby's for curly fries at like 3 a.m?
Just McDonald's.
Just
Well,
McDonald's?
we talked that one time where I was
Yeah.
going at an odd hour to get her a McDouble.
Yeah, he called me at like 1 o'clock in the morning. He's like, "We'll have to get a McDouble."
And Dean's like, all right, like,
Are you drunk?
are you okay? I'm like, you should be driving if you're hammered. I'm like, no, it's fair.
No.
For
She
Lindsay.
just woke me up and she's sending me to go get a fucking McDouble at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, yeah.
But then I
Well,
was
good. Congratulations.
And then it has one bite and then says, you can finish it. I'm like, okay, great.
Mhm.
So I really
Yeah.
want for myself, but appreciate
That's
it.
the thing, right? Like when your wife gets pregnant, and you'll realize this over time. When your wife gets pregnant, you gain all the weight because she's eating all the food, and you're like, I can't not have the rest of your ice cream, or I can't not have the rest of that Big Mac, or I can't not finish your fries. And this is after you've already eaten your meal because you're going to go to the same place and you all gain the same fucking weight. So, good luck.
It's sympathy weight, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's sympathy weight, but you're gonna have
It's sympathy
sympathy myocardial infarctions if you keep it up.
Yeah.
That's what you got to worry about. Is that stuff.
Those are easy to get through. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll lean on
Yeah.
you guys, but that's awesome. Thanks for the congratulations. And
Yeah, dude.
we're
Congratulations.
super
again.
excited.
Yeah, you
You
should
should
be.
be.
Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun. And,
Good
and you know
stuff,
what?
man.
Fuck, having a kid is the ultimate excuse to not go anywhere, do anything, show up to things, leave stuff early. It's the fucking best. Like, your kid is the greatest excuse. It's that get out of jail free card, I need to leave card, can't go here card. Dude, blame your kid for fucking everything. That's the only thing that matters outside you raising that kid is using that kid to your advantage to get out of things and into things that you don't want to do, right? Like, you take that kid in a stroller and you go to Wonderland, you're like, I really have to get on this ride real quick, otherwise my kid, is
It's
going
gonna
to
start screaming.
it's going to start screaming. They're like, come on the ride. No problem. Same thing when you
don't
get
want
on a
that.
plane. You're like, listen, my son needs a little extra space. Can we go up to first class? Absolutely. Look at that cute little boy. Bring him all up into the first class. Bring your wife. Bring your kids. That kid is legitimately the key to you grifting even better than you've grifted before.
Yep.
I had
It's a golden
yeah,
ticket.
I had a conundrum the other day. I was at the grocery store and there was no parking.
Yeah.
I was like, can I park in expectant mothers?
Yeah. You absolutely can now.
But I'm not an expecting mother.
Doesn't matter.
I
You're
was
part of the
by
expecting
myself.
mother team. No, you're part of the team. Part of the team, part of the ship. Dude, if your wife is expecting and you got to go there to get something for the expecting mother, you can wheel into that space. I've had literal arguments with pregnant ladies in those spaces where they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, my wife is at home pregnant. And they're like, yeah, pretty sure that's supposed to be for her to go in the store. I'm like, details.
Doesn't say.
Details.
Doesn't say.
Show me the sign.
Those are just details. And they're like, no. And I remember because it was in front of Longo's, and she's like, you're not an expecting mother. I'm like, no, but I have an expecting wife who's an expecting mother, and she just sent me out to go get this stuff. So that's why I'm here. And she's like, you're still not an expecting mother. And I legitimately looked at her and went, details.
See, I didn't do it. I just went and parked further away and walked in with Shane, but I thought about it.
Oh, you can, dude. You can totally do it. It's awesome. But congratulations, brother. I think that's
Thanks,
just
guys.
the greatest thing in the world. And it's weird because it comes during a time in a week where we got to get into this because it's so fucking huge, is where the United States Supreme Court leaked a memo and a draft decision on Roe versus Wade, since 1973, a law set on precedent of Roe versus Wade, which said having an abortion in the United States, if you're a female, from the year 1973, so 49 years. That's this guy right here. So the year is 1973. Women have been having federally protected, safe abortions for the last almost 50 years. Now, yesterday, the Supreme Court, or 2 days ago, Supreme Court of the United States had a leaked draft of a decision that's coming out that was authored by a guy named Sam Alito, who is a hardcore Opus Dei Catholic judge, Amy Coney Barrett, who is a hardcore female oath keeper, born-again Christian, Brett Kavanaugh, who's a bit of a toucher in high school and university, again, hardcore born-again Christian extremist zealot, Neil Gorsuch, same thing. All of those judges were put on the Supreme Court by Donald Trump and evangelical America, and they all promised prior to actually ascending into the seats, these lifetime appointments, that Roe versus Wade and a woman's ability to be able to decide how her body is going to be treated, whether she's pregnant or not, has legitimately been wiped out by this draft decision, which was leaked. And I'll get to the leak portion of it in just a second. But Caryma, you're here because I want you to weigh in on this. And not only because I don't think it's a man's responsibility to be able to have an opinion on this that is salient, other than being an ally to women, other than promoting and protecting a woman's right to choose. And so having you here as a female obviously is huge, but having you here as someone who has a deep understanding of the law and precedent and how it was set, and then also can see, what happens when laws like this are abolished and what happens to women after the laws like this are abolished. And of course, what happens in the United States invariably wafts up to here, to this country as well. And we're seeing that response from conservative politicians in this country today. But let's back this up. Caryma, I want to talk a little bit about Roe versus Wade. What is the precedent? What is Roe versus Wade? And then we can get into the decision yesterday and just your thoughts on going back in time 50 years, because that's how I feel today.
So with the caveat that obviously we're talking about American jurisprudence, and it's quite different than we have in Canada. So I'm not coming at this from any particular level of expertise, sort of, beyond what I read in the papers. I didn't go to school for this. But it's funny that you say sort of a 50-year rollback. And I think that that's true on some level, but it's also true that there have been incursions into reproductive rights at the state level for a very long time. And so this, I don't think, came out of nowhere. I think that this has been in the making for as long as it's been law, because of, I suppose, the sort of social conservative response. And we can talk about why that is, or, who benefits from not having access to abortion. But Roe and Wade, essentially at the sort of federal level, put in protections for abortion, such that states could not criminalize it out and out. And now that is, it looks to be potentially, because what we have is sort of the draft of a decision. This isn't the formal decision, but it looks to be that is being reversed. And the implications for that are actually quite far-reaching, because there's this suggestion that this was never really a foundational. It's not a constitutional right. It's and in the U.S., and this is maybe a big distinction between us and the states. In Canada, we have what's called a living tree approach to our Constitution, meaning when judges are interpreting the Constitution, they aren't restricted to 1867 and what was said and meant by the founders of the Constitution, and we must stick with that intent. The living tree approach recognizes that, in fact, values change, ideals change, and so the Constitution needs to be interpreted with that in mind. In the U.S., there is a much stronger sort of push for originalism, and it surprises me because when the U.S. Constitution came about, like, there were a lot of ideas that now are just completely known to be unacceptable, right? Like, how many signatories of the Constitution were slave owners? So the idea that we have to kind of be within the confines of the framers and enforce, and we're rigidly bound by this propertied, moneyed small group of men from 200 whatever years ago, that I think that's fundamentally flawed. But I'll throw it back to you, because that was sort of a verbal, but basically it's bad news bear. And I think it's just the start, because if the court finds that actually this this right to privacy, for example, that was never in the Constitution. That's not a real thing. Well, what does this mean for gay marriage, for example? Like, what does this mean, for segregation laws? So this is going to have, I think, far-reaching implications, and just the most urgent of that, frankly, is an issue that's been building up for some time, and that likely could have been addressed between 1973 to today, and wasn't. So it wasn't prioritized, and I think that that bears repeating as well.
Yeah, but Roe v. Wade was it settled law, right? From 73 until just a couple of days ago, when the leak of this draft decision came out from Politico, which, by the way, in itself is fucking unbelievable. It's the first of its kind. Like, Supreme Court decisions traditionally, to the best of my knowledge, have never been leaked. So therein lies some conspiracy stuff, which we can get into in just a second. But where it comes to women's reproductive rights and how federally there was an overreaching protective measure that said, hey, listen, there isn't a state in this country that can force a woman to go through with a pregnancy that she does not want, whether that is through rape, an ectopic pregnancy, or real serious health risks and issues to the mother and to the child. Like, they do not want anybody in certain states in the United States of America getting abortions. Why? What is in your? I think I know why, and we'll get into why. But how is it 50 years on in 2022? There's a competing factor to a woman's right to choose that is seemingly successful.
I think, it's partially cultural and largely political, and having control over reproductive autonomy means having control over the populace. So is this part of, I don't have the answer to this, but like the implication is that women are not autonomous, right? So this treads directly on that concept of bodily autonomy, and ironically is being championed by people who have appropriated that same language in talking about vaccines. So it's absolutely hypocritical. And if the issue was truly about kind of protecting babies, and we're talking about the context of the United States, well, it's practically unaffordable to have a baby. Like the hospital costs, the cost of kind of living, the lack of social supports. This isn't about protecting people, so we know what it's not about. And kind of, I think there's only nefarious explanations as to why the government would want to intrude on that right.
I have because I thought about this over the past couple of days, and we've been pretty bullish on a woman's right to choose and the ability for a woman to decide if she wants to have a baby or not, right? And I know that there are a million factors that go into it, but I watched like different special interest groups over the past 48 hours shoot their bullshit into the arena, right? Like only 0.1% of women who get abortions are rape victims. I'm like, only, so that's okay? Like, it's the same argument as only 0.4% of us are going to die from COVID if we don't wear masks. Like, it's the onlys and the ifs and the hypotheticals. And it's funny because it all comes from the same group. It comes from overtly religious zealots and extremists who and you made mention of it, during the COVID pandemic, were the ones walking around with signs going, body autonomy is the most important thing to me, which is really code for, if I get this shot, Jesus Christ won't accept me into heaven. So there's that, right? It's all codified because they never say the fucking quiet parts out loud. And what Christian America, and by and large Christian Canada, evangelical extremist Canada, which we saw in Ottawa, and we saw again in Ottawa this last week with the Rolling Thunder and, of course, Flu Trucks Clan. I am amazed at how many of those people fought for their body autonomy, that are those same people that are now telling every woman in Canada, if you're part of that group in Canada or that culture and ideology and you live in this country, and if you're part of that evangelical zealousy in the United States, those same people that scream my body, my choice and refuse to let the state put anything in them are now saying, I am all aboard the movement that tells women that their body is subject to the church and the state's whims with what they do. So in that capacity, I find it not just hypocritical, but if you start talking about the hypocrisy in that way, it is fucking hilarious to me. Dangerously hilarious, but it's hilarious because they use that same argument to create bumper stickers and movements and stop people going through borders and killing the economy. But when it comes time for a woman they don't know to decide if she wants to have a baby or not, they are all in. Like that argument that they use to stay unvaccinated and remove themselves from a responsible society is the same argument that they want to introduce body tyranny to. It's fucking bizarre to me, Caryma. Like, it makes no sense.
It makes sense from sort of the very like cynical perspective of keeping people downtrodden.
Mm-hmm.
Downtrodden in terms of like that's the extremist MO, right? How can we?
It's not about improving people's material conditions. In fact, denying someone a choice or forcing them to go through with a birth, in most circumstances, will harm material conditions, right? Because people know what is best for them in their circumstances, and kind of, I don't really see that the state has a role in legislating what's essentially what is a medical decision, right? It's not the introduction of sort of this moralistic perspective. I don't think fits, and the ripple effect of forcing someone to go through with a birth, or conversely, the stories of people who had abortions and their lives unfolded in a particular way, but that could not have been the case if they didn't have access to that service, or people who didn't have good access and found alternate ways, right? Like the back alley abortions, because people will still find ways to get abortions. And the family members, the relatives, the acquaintances, the mistresses, whatever, of the legislators, and I guess in this case we're talking about the Supreme Court, but it's at the state level that we'll see sort of these legislative changes. Mm-hmm. They're always going to have access, right? Whether it means crossing state lines and going somewhere else, crossing to a different country, they're going to be fine. They're going to have their abortions. Who's actually going to be impacted are people who are marginalized, people who are low income, and people who don't have sort of the resources to obtain that care. And I think sort of from that lens, that's the concern from the Canadian perspective. I don't think kind of that's the real risk to abortion in Canada. Is not being able to access the service, right? And if you're rural in certain provinces, it's just not as easily or readily available. The introduction of private healthcare, that sort of seeping in, those are all the threats that we face kind of at a Canadian level. So it's a mistake to, I think, take the US framework and then just place it onto Canada. We need to think about what are our specific problems and the threats to abortion here.
What are those? Because that seems to be the narrative that a lot of people are pushing. And I said something the other day that got some traction and pissed some people in the Conservative Party off, which I truly enjoyed, where I said, hey, listen, we're a Pierre Poilievre away from this happening in Canada. And when I said that, I didn't mean specifically him, but I meant the rhetoric that he spreads and the people that he marshals, because those are the people that literally are all pro-life. Like, they don't give a fuck what a woman's gone through. They don't care about the emotional experience, the PTSD, the anxiety, the life-changing experience of maybe having to terminate a pregnancy because of where you are in life, how you were treated when you conceived that child, or the fact that, listen, it's your fucking body. If you don't want to have a kid, you do not have to have a child. That is the fucking end of it. But explain that to me, because I sit here and go through the motions when I'm trying to think about how we're supposed to support women in this country, knowing that what happens down there culturally seeps in here because of the information superhighway and the Facebook bullshit and Fox and all the rhetoric that gets really kind of jammed up around us, because there are news outlets that don't do news. They do cultural news. They do supportive content that represents their base, like Fox News does on a daily basis, or like Facebook does because the algorithms are rigged. But like, we have that information problem that is going to come up here. Are you saying you're not worried about it because we have different policies in the way we adjudicate this stuff and how it is governed? Because I believe it's decriminalized up here, but I don't think there are any legal policies in Canada that say, oh, no. It doesn't matter who or what. This cannot be rolled back. A woman's right to choose is a woman's right to choose, period, stop, if you will.
I mean, it's not so much that I'm not worried about reproductive rights in Canada. I think that our threat that we need to contend with most clearly is austerity, and sort of policies and the lack of funding for healthcare, the lack of availability in hospitals if you're not in sort of a city, right? So I think that is our issue that we need to most clearly contend with. So the Morgentaler decision in Canada is relevant because that's what struck down the provisions in the criminal code that criminalized abortion. And so short of reintroducing those provisions, and I think that kind of constitutionally with the charter, that's a non-starter. Although, we do have MPPs and MPs who have signaled that they are so-called pro-life, and, that this debate for them isn't closed, perhaps. So it's not that we have nothing to worry about here. I don't think that's true. But I think the key issue we need to contend with is the lack of availability and access, because something can be legal, but if you can't actually obtain it, then, what good is that?
Is that something you're worried about? If there is a changing of the guard federally in this country, is the denial of access or making access more difficult if, let's say, a hyper-religious group of conservative zealots ascend to power in this country?
Of course, that changes the landscape, and that is, potentially going to roll things back further. But even presently, the healthcare is provincial, right? So what funding is being made available and how easy it is to obtain services, that's to be looked at a provincial level. The federal government.
Is there something to be done federally? Like, can you do what the United States did in 1973, where you're like, listen, federally speaking, it is absolutely 100% illegal for any province to decide that they have the business to be involved in a woman's uterus?
I mean, I suppose that they could pass that federally, as legislation. I don't know that anything provincially is being tabled that would. I don't know about that.
Yeah, this is pretty fresh, so I don't think we're going to see that for a bit. But
I'm surprised because I would have expected liberals to ham-hand this and go, let's take advantage of the atmosphere. Right?
They already are. Karina Gould, the Minister of Family and Children's Services, already said on Power and Politics yesterday or the day before that America, if this happens, American women are more than welcome to come up and utilize services in Canada. She said that out loud. So while the Conservatives are telling their MPs and MPPs to shut their mouth right now and not talk about it at all, and if it comes up, to deflect the questions, the Liberals and the progressives are the actual progressives are actually hitting it head on. And I have a feeling it will become a wedge issue, and it will become probably hotter than Pierre's freedom movement. You watch; he's going to shift his words of freedom to unfortunately, family values. It's going to be masked as family values and not as abortion.
Traditional family values.
Values, and that's what we're going to hear a lot of.
That's where he comes for gay marriage at the same time. That's going to happen in the United States as well.
Like Caryma said it's a good snowball effect that we're about to see, because this is going to affect a lot of people that are already marginalized. It's gonna shut down a lot of the progress groups have made, and not just on a woman's right to choose. Like on lots of oppressed people down in the States. So like this is a mess. Like this one's bad. This one's bad.
Even before this decision came out, I forget what state it was, but it was essentially, a woman went in for an abortion, and then the nurse snitched, and she was taken to jail and had sort of this huge bail associated with her, and it was for the supposed crime of abortion. Maybe it was the stage that she was at. I forget the specific details, but the point I'm trying to get to from this is ultimately, if we're talking in the States about criminalizing something, that goes hand in hand with the carceral complex, right? The prison industrial complex, that has to be enforced by someone, and there's penalties to be had. And so, is this fodder for that? I think that's an element of it. And that kind of, all of these systems work in lockstep to keep people oppressed. I think it is that straightforward.
I think you're right. I agree.
So how do you feel as a woman? I just dawned on me, we're talking about all the legal aspects and the wafting into Canada of this cultural tyranny of evangelical extremism when it comes to the abortion issue, or pro-life as they call it. Fuck you. You're not pro-life. You're pro-asshole. You're pro-medical tyranny for women. You're pro-oppression of females. That's what you are. Fuck, I'm not calling them pro-life. I'm going to call them anti-female from now on. Anti-female rights. But how do you feel as a woman, as a female? When we touched on it, we were having dinner last night, and I kind of asked you about it, and we glossed over because we had way better shit to talk about. But like, as a woman, how do you feel about Roe v. Wade getting turned over? How do you feel about this being even a fucking conversation in 2022?
I mean, I don't even know that my reaction is grounded in sort of sex or gender. I think that this is very bad for humanity, broadly speaking. And it's shocking to imagine that someone sort of outside of me feels that they would have the right to dictate what is really a personal medical choice. No one is like legislating. I don't want to be flippant, so I'll spare you the analogies, but like it's absurd, and it's such a life altering decision that it's truly, in my mind, not justifiable. And even rehashing the debate, rehashing the conversation for what? Like, for what?
Yeah, it was settled. This is settled. We
did this settled
already.
Right? And all of at least two of the justices, right, during their committee hearings, indicated, well, Roe v. Wade is settled law. Like, we're not going to change that. And so was that a lie? It would seem so.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad.
Yeah, it had to be a lie. I mean, you're talking about Amy Coney Barrett, who's like the president of the female weirdo Christian Oath Keepers group, who think that a woman's place is behind her man, and the man is in charge of the home, and you defer everything to that person. That's legitimately what she believes. She sat during her hearing, her confirmation hearing, they're like, tell us about Roe v. Wade. Do you consider that settled law? She's like, absolutely. Neil Gorsuch, same thing. Absolutely. Brett Kavanaugh, the fucking toucher. He's like, absolutely. And even Alito
on beer.
Yeah, even Alito, like 25 years ago, when he was put on the Supreme Court by George Bush, he said the same thing. Absolutely. Well, fucking fast forward to when they have a majority on the Supreme Court, because you got 9 conservatives and 9 judges, 5 of them are conservative, 4 of them are not. And it goes back to that culture war, like whoever actually controls. And you know what? It's a microcosm of the problem that we have with government in general and politics in general. It's the stacking of the deck. It's the leveraging of the cultural friends that you have in key positions that enable you to pass policies that legitimately hurt the majority of people, which is why I find it fucking unbelievable that we elect religious leaders at all, specifically any religious leaders from the evangelical community, because they are fucking egregiously terrible people, like awful people. You're seeing that entire group in the United States stack the deck on behalf of evangelical America, which is why they wanted Donald Trump, the brand, to be the president, because they knew he was fucking useless, and he knew that he would carry out their bidding if they gave him what he wanted. Well, fuck, I'm watching Pierre Poilievre run around the country, repeat the same shit to the same people, and whip up the same fervor with that group that literally believe, Caryma, that they should have access to your reproductive organs. Like, that's the part that fucking doesn't sit with me. That's the part that I don't understand, is on what planet can like an eighth of the population get to decide what the rest of the world, specifically 55% of the population in that country, and if it happens here, why the fuck are we even allowing them to run for politics? Why the fuck isn't that a preclusion for every single person who serves this country or other countries in an official capacity? Because it goes, and dude, you're seeing it in real time, Caryma. These people don't serve the people. They serve an ideology and an invisible sky daddy that says you should really have all kinds of business with women's uteruses. That should really be your concern. Like, am I right? Am I fucking in the ballpark? I think I am.
Undeniably, there's a religious element to this. And
what happened to church and state? Sorry, just to add on to that, the church and state was in the Constitution of America, is it not, to separate the two? And what's going on? Sorry, Caryma.
No, it's a very disturbing time, but again, like I'll reiterate that this didn't come out. This has been part of the culture war, even as it was settled law, and the rollbacks and restrictions at the state level. That's been an issue for 50 years. So, and why wasn't this a priority, right? To legislate federally in the US, kind of across the board, and have it codified. I don't know. I think that there was a false sense of security that obviously wasn't warranted. And we're now kind of dealing with that repercussion. In Canada, I think, there are some outlets that have tried to import that notion of conservative judge, liberal judge, kind of who appointed who. And it's, I think, a lot less relevant than it is in the States. So, there's judges will still come with their perspectives and ideologies and their sort of background and all of that. But the US is just a mess in that it is very politically polarized, and that detracts from the rule of law, really, and the separation of powers between the executive and the judiciary and the legislature.
Right. I think Canadians have forgotten. I think they've forgotten that we used to go down to the United States, like in the 80s. Women were going there to have abortions from Canada because they couldn't get them done here. Yeah. Like, we took our cues from them for the progression of women's rights, reproductive rights, and control of your own body. And now we stepped up, did the right thing, and now they're going back. Like, how are they?
Did you see Marco Mendocino today? He was like, hey, listen, we're going to establish abortion tourism in this country. Did you see that? In not so many words, I'm paraphrasing, but like, Canada, and that's a great point, is that Canada has a kind of a cool responsibility here, right? And that's why guys like Pierre Poilievre scare the fuck out of me, is because he parrots all the bullshit that's coming from the same people that have decided that they now want to have everything to do with an individual woman's vagina, uterus, and reproductive organs. Like that the church should be able to dictate whether or not, hey, kitty, The church should be able to dictate whether or not a woman has the right to decide if she wants to go through with a pregnancy or not, right? And when I sit in the idea that that a woman has no right in half the states of the United States of America, in certain states, and I know that Canada is just a little further north, and all you have to do is come up here. I think there's a huge opportunity to literally go down there, almost like refugee status for women, because I don't know if you've seen the same thing. Some of the actual notes that I've seen from women, and I've had conversations with some female content people and journalists in the United States, almost all of them have said, if there was a matchmaking service for me to be able to hook up with a human being in Canada, to be able to come into Canada and enjoy the rights and the freedoms that women in Canada enjoy today after that announcement, like the deluge is on. I was talking to somebody in immigration services, and they said, dude, expect, and we're already starting to see it, expect a ton of women who would like to reserve the right to their own bodies and the choices that they make with their own bodies, medically speaking, reproductive speaking. They want to come to Canada because this is at that tyrannical in the United States. Like, it is old school, colonial. It's fucking Russian in nature.
The Handmaid's
like,
Tale.
It's Handmaid's Tale bullshit. That's a great point.
I mean, like, the state and reproductive rights, right? Like, we have our own sort of checkered history here in Canada, and the idea of kind of abortion tourism, that I think will be a reality, but only a certain class of people can even exercise that option, right? So it's really the most vulnerable people who will be the most harmed by this. And so I think concretely, grassroots sort of abortion funds, like, that's the way to go, sort of in supporting them in whatever way is possible. I don't know kind of what else to do there.
Well, I don't even know. I mean, the whole idea that this thing even leaked is incredible. Like, you and I were talking about it last night. I thought, it's probably like a Democrat that works, in the Supreme Court that's like, I should probably leak this because this is fucking crazy that they're going to steal the federally protected right for a woman to have an abortion out from underneath them. And then you said something yesterday, which I found interesting. Like, maybe it was a Republican, maybe it was a GOP person, right? Like, maybe it was one of those things where it's like, no, we want to get this out there so these guys don't change their minds, like the justices, right? Have you ever seen a leak from the Supreme Court before? I haven't.
No. I mean, I think it's largely a distraction, but so, not the substance of the matter. But I think, there's a real possibility that this was done to sort of cement someone into their position, or else they risk being a flip-flopper. As much as it could be, let's see if public outrage can get the court to change its mind. And either one of those scenarios really undermines the validity of the institution. I think the Supreme Court of the United States undermines its own validity quite often in many ways. So this is just further erosion of that. But democracy and rule of law is so fragile, and building trust in those institutions is not something that happens overnight, although the sort of that destruction of trust can be instantaneous. And, historically, we turn to the courts kind of as, all right, we will seek protection and recourse, and sort of the sober second thought here. And they reflect values, they push values forward. It is sort of, there's this feedback loop. But whatever kind of the outcome turns out to be, like, none of this is good for democracy.
No. And we're looking, we're on the precipice of the midterms for the US. So I think Caryma's theory it tracks, I think, because of where we are in timing for down there. The rallies are starting, and what a way to kick it off with riling up that base, because I guess the freedom movement was losing some gas. So let's poke this one out. And
yeah. Let's
this
give
one will
people
do
some
it.
red fucking meat. Yeah.
And I think she's onto something there. I think you're absolutely right, Caryma.
She's always onto something. That's why I ask her. That's why I'm asking her these questions. I'm like, she's probably onto something.
I learn more from Caryma than I do from my own reading. So
yeah,
that's why I love
me
when
too.
she's
Always.
here.
At Caryma Rules on Twitter. Last question I have for you. Should we be worried in Canada? Should Canadian women be worried about this, as I, not so eloquently put it, wafting up into this country?
I think we should be vigilant. I think that I'll reiterate that kind of the privatization of healthcare, two-tier healthcare, is the real issue that we need to be contending with, more so than sort of political opinions on it. I think that we don't have the traction for that level of change, although maybe I'm wrong. But absolutely, we need to be vigilant and sort of building as much solidarity as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Caryma,
should be
trailblazers.
Trailblazers when it comes to these things. I think, and let the world see that the neighbor isn't as horrible as the downstairs. I'm sad. Like, this is an entirely sad regression, fucking falling back. There's so many progressive things that have happened since that have now just like it's shit on it. It just
gives me war vibes. Like, it's the same negative vibe I get when I know we got to talk about the Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine, and it's the same. Like, it's that dirge kind of. Are you fucking serious, society? Like, are we really going to go back to like the 30s and the 40s? Are we really going to fucking be reactive to colonial assholes deciding that Jesus is the reason for the vaginal season? Like, are we fucking there? Is that we're gonna allow religion to dictate how a woman lives and treats herself and what she decides to do in her best interest? Is that where we're at? Like, are we fucking seriously playing around with that stuff? And then when some people say to me, like the Chelsea Hilliers of the world, who was on with James the other day, spewing all kinds of bullshit. Well, we're going to have him on tomorrow to kind of talk about it. And she's like way into the same thing, way into evangelical Christianity, way into this kind of stuff. She's absolutely 100% pro-life. And she's absolutely one of the most hateful fucking people in the world, from the most hateful fucking family in this country. And I'm like, okay, so look at those people and tell me if you think they should be in charge of everybody's womb in this country, or that person and that kind of ideology and what it does to a human being. You tell me if we think we should follow them down that fucking path, Caryma. Like, that's who we're talking about in the United States, making decisions for everybody else in the United States. It's that MO, is it not? It's that person.
Yeah, totally unfit for leadership if the sort of assumed purpose of governance is to improve conditions for people, right? Like, that's not what their goal is.
They're totally unfit for public consumption without supervision, let alone fucking governing this place.
They're unfit to go to fucking Walmart.
Yeah.
They're unfit to be seen at a fucking dart tournament in a local pub. Like, they're unfit individuals, and those same fucking unfit people are the same people, and I go back to this all the time, that have been trying to prevent children from getting vaccinated, that have been showing up to hospitals to fight doctors and nurses because they want that body autonomy. That's how fucked they are. If you're not fighting for women in every capacity that you have to be able to allow women, and as men, like this, guys, listen to me very carefully, especially white dudes. It is your job to use that privilege to be able to support and clear the way for women and their right to their own bodies, and that is it. That is the only discussion point, data point you need to carry into every conversation. And if you're a religious fuck, and if you're a dude who wants to get into it with a woman at a dinner party over her right to her own reproductive self, you're a piece of shit and nobody likes you, and you're a useless member of fucking society. So go fuck yourself. Okay? I'm glad we had this talk. Caryma, thank you very much for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. It's always great to have you. Sorry about Lochlin yesterday.
Well, it was great times.
I'd really like
to know where we're going on Friday. We'll see you then.
I'd like to retain a lawyer every time I go out with Lochlin now, if we can.
Yeah, it was great. It's great. Everywhere you go with Caryma, you're like, I'm covered because I got a lawyer. And the great part is, it was like 4 enormous older white dudes walking around with like one of the best lawyers in the city. We're not idiots.
It's right.
Thanks, Caryma. Great to see you.
Bye.
Thanks, Caryma.
Caryma Saad, ladies and gentlemen, sadvocacy.com. She is a landlord-tenant expert, and she's also a activist, and she's also really bright, and she's also a female, and we don't have a part in this conversation, boys. I said it the other day, and I'll fucking repeat it, and I'll say it over and over and over and over again. Your only job in this whole conversation is to support a woman's right to choose, and if that woman happens to be an evangelical fucking extremist, and she said, well, that means you're supporting me. No, we're not. You're one of the crazies too. You have no business inside another person's body, like none. And if you're going to come up to me, like a lot of people have over the past couple of days, because we've been pretty vocal about saying, hey, let's support women. That's all we have to do. We don't have a dog in this fight other than the fact that if you're not a supportive man supporting women who have absolutely every right to their body, that every man who decided in the United States, they do not. Like men have decided, women in the United States do not have the right to their body in the name of Jesus Christ. If you're a female and you believe that, you're a traitorous fuck to your own people.
Yep.
You're a piece of shit.
Yep.
And on top of being a piece of shit, you're hateful. You're a fucking awful person. And there's a reason why the rest of the world is marginalized and ratioed you over the past 2 years is because we see you for being the hateful fucks that you are. All of you. So shut the fuck up, fellas. Get behind these women or in front of them if they ask you to. Make room for them in society so that they can actually voice their opinion, so that they can tell you what's important to them. And then you stand behind them and you say, this is what we're doing. Whatever you want, whatever it is, I'm in this entire fight for you because that's the greater good. It's not a bunch of evangelical zealots telling the rest of the world how we have to live. Fuck them. They believe in Sky Daddy. They believe that Noah built an ark with like a banana hammer.
He was 600 years old.
He's 600 when he did it. 600. They believe that God.
I'm 41. I couldn't walk 8 blocks last night in downtown Toronto. I wasn't building an ark yesterday.
And if you're 600, there's no way you're building an ark, right? At 41, you're like, I'm not interested in building this ark. No. Jonah and the whale. There's another great story. Do you really believe that Jonah was swallowed by a whale and puked up in front of his family on the beach at a picnic 3 days later? You're fucked. Those are the people that want rights to women's vaginas and uteruses and on ovaries. Those are the people. They believe that stuff. If you're one of those people, you need your fucking head examined.
And you know what? Like, you have the right to believe that for you. If that's what's good for you, if you get, like if you find yourself in a pregnancy that is unwanted, and you feel morally bound by a pretend person to keep that baby, that's fine. Do it. Keep it. Do that. That's fine. Don't tell anybody else how to do that, like how to make that decision. That's not your fucking decision. And that goes for men or women, especially men. We've been unfairly throughout history, straight white guys. We've just always had pick of the litter of every single fucking thing. And if we can't see it for what it is now and use that as almost like a reparation to that unfair advantage, then we're doing something wrong. Like as men, and you're not a man. You're not a fucking man if you're trying to tell a woman, you're going through with this because that's my seed and I'm fucking
religious terrorist.
You're a piece of shit. So, like I say, if that's your choice, if you want to go through with it, all yours. Go for it. If not, shut your fucking mouth.
Well said. Shut your fucking mouth.
Dirty pirate hooker mouth. Ron Burgundy.
Shut your fucking mouth. And I gotta tell you, it's the only way to do it. It's the only way for us to move forward is like legitimately guys like us that have the immense privilege of being born into this fucking crazy skin color, which we did nothing to deserve. So it's not like we've ascended anywhere because it's just the way that fucking society unfortunately has worked for a long period of time. It's our chance. This is our chance to fucking make a difference on behalf of humanity. So fucking do something about it. Speaking of making a difference, did you see Dave Chapelle get attacked on stage at the Hollywood Bowl last night?
Yeah, I that guy didn't do so well.
Oh, oh, oh
He
my
didn't do well
God.
at all.
Dave Chapelle, he's doing the Fuck Netflix tour. He's at the Hollywood Bowl last night. A couple of videos that I've got for you. This is Chapelle and the moment of his attack. We know who did it, but it was fucking big time. Watch this.
History. History. History.
So there you go. You get the video of it. You can see what happened. He just started this Hollywood Bowl show, and some guy legitimately runs onto the stage, stops, and then fucking tries to tackle him. Now, Dave actually took that hit really well because he's built like a fucking brick shithouse. So not something the guy recognized. After the guy actually attacked him, his security, which legitimately has some of the baddest men on the planet, beat the shit out of this kid.
Wow.
That beating was going on for a long period of time.
There's a lot of feet. I saw a lot of feet in that.
That beating went on for a long period of time, and you did see a lot of feet in that. Chapelle not only took the beating with charm and class and watched it after the beating actually happened, and just wait for the video of the dude who tried to attack Chapelle and got beat. I think he needs medical attention. We'll get to that video in just a second. But Chapelle, because he's a fucking pro, and this is what amazes me, he went with it. Like, he didn't back off the stage. He didn't say, I just was attacked. He brought out Jamie Foxx. And, of course, Chris Rock is on hand for this. We've got that video coming up in just a minute. But he brings out Jamie Foxx and legitimately does content all around what just happened on stage. And he refers to old school beatings, like the ones that people used to get if they did shit like this and no one got charged or got called, a terrorist or an asshole or, someone that went too far. This is fucking awesome.
Oh, now everybody comes out for the curtain call. Shout out to Jamie Foxx, by the way. Jamie, where you at? Jamie, hold up. Make some noise for Fox. Whenever you're in trouble, Jamie Foxx will show up in a sheriff's hat. Turn the mic up. Nigga, I thought that was part of the show. I don't know what the fuck is... I grabbed the back of that nigga's head. His hair was spongy. Absorbent. Listen, I just want to say, man, I've had an incredible time. This man is an absolute genius. We got to make sure we protect him at all times, man. This is what it's about. For every comedian that comes out here, man, this means everything, man. You're a genius, you're a legend. I enjoyed myself thoroughly, and we're not gonna let nothing happen to you, nigga. That's right. Give it up. This is the show. Wait. Nigga, I'm back there. I've been doing this 35 years. I just stomped the nigga backstage. Always wanted to do that. Nigga, I'm back there squeezing this nigga too. Niggas, I seen Busta Rhymes on it. It's like, that's how you do it, God. Hey, yo, where Busta at? Busta, yo, what's up, Busta? Where Busta at? Yo, where Busta at? Turn the lights off. Give it up one more time, Dave Chapelle. Everybody compose yourselves. I wanted this to be a peaceful moment, and I'm sure now it is.
Also, I don't know if you knew, that guy was packing a knife and a fake gun, apparently.
Oh, was he really? I didn't know.
Yeah, like he had shit on him that made it look like he was, the fake gun, whatever, but he actually had an actual knife too. So
yeah, he's nuts. His name's Isaiah Lee. He's written Dave Chapelle a bunch of emails and notes and stuff in the past. I think he was like an Uber fan. So there's this narrative going around that it was someone from the trans community. It was someone from Netflix. It was an employee from Netflix. It's none of those things. It was a psycho who's like an Uber Dave Chapelle fan who unfortunately was in the wrong mental headspace at the right place at the wrong fucking time. It got better though. Like after Dave vamped, he invites Chris Rock up on stage. Watch this.
Was that Will Smith?
Was that Will Smith? Was it? Oh my God.
I saw another narrative on social media today about it as well, saying that blaming Will Smith, saying Will Smith invited this. It's like, fuck off, come on.
Will Smith. Well, fuck, dude. Like, we haven't seen comedians get bum rushed on the stage and people try to beat them up until Will Smith went up on stage at the Oscars and beat the living shit out of Chris Rock, and then Chris Rock magically in the audience for the next time it actually happens to the only other celebrity and comedian who's bigger than Chris Rock at the moment. And Chris Rock happened to be there. It was fucking brilliant, right? Like it was
the timing. Timing was perfect for sure.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch, dude. Like just in the big scheme of things, you want to see guys like that, get what they get specifically after. Like his attacker's arm. I don't know if you saw his arm. Did you see his arm?
You just put some dirt on it. He'll be fine. You just rub a little dirt on him. Walk it off. You'll be good.
Yeah, dude. Here's the thing: you attack like one of the greatest comedians in the history of comedy, and he's got a crew of guys who are way badasses. And you think that you're gonna walk out of that with an arm that doesn't look like this? You're crazy. Look at it.
Yo, where are you going?
Did you see that? Look at his arm. It's pointing the wrong way. The elbow is bending the exact wrong fucking way. That is look at that. Oh my fucking God. They beat him within an inch, and look at his face.
What do you think he's thinking right now, Dean? You think he's thinking that was probably not the best decision I've made today? Maybe I should have thought this through a bit more. Like, because he's hanging his head. He looks sad.
Well, he just got his ass kicked for like 5 solid minutes, and his arm is bending the wrong way at the elbow, and his eyes are closed in, and his fucking legs are broken, and his fucking ribs are broken. Like Dave Chapelle security didn't just remove him from the stage; they tried to remove him from life,
from the world.
Yeah, look at him. His arm is legitimately bending the wrong fucking way.
Oh my God.
He's in the hospital right now. He had to have surgery yesterday, and he's got broken orbital bones, some kind of fucked up concussion where he's probably going to have to be in a dark room for the rest of his life. His ankles are broken. I believe one of his legs are broken as well. And there he is with his arm legitimately pointing 90 degrees the wrong way. To me, that's okay. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be pissed that I say, hey, listen, I'm totally cool with this dude's arm going the wrong way and him getting dummied, but he literally tried to attack a guy on stage during a live show, and that guy rolls deep. And this is not how they fuck around where these people are from. When I say these people, I mean performers. I mean guys who came from nothing and still kept their crew like Dave Chapelle did. Guys who fucking roll with security that legally are allowed to kill you. Just a fucking terrible idea.
It is.
Pretty good.
Everything hurts looking at it.
That's awesome. That is one of the fucking best moments from Dave Chappelle's career. Then did you hear him say it? He goes, I've been doing this for 35 years. I finally got to beat the shit out of someone backstage.
Busta Rhymes told me to do it this way.
He's like, over to you, Busta. Busta's like, yeah, that's how you do it. You beat that ass. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't feel bad for that guy at all.
No, me neither.
That could have gone way worse for Dave, and I'm glad he had a team of people there to help him out.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, that's it for us. Thought we'd finish with Dave Chapelle beating the shit out of his attacker.
Let's feel
and then
good.
Playing the video of him and his arm bent the wrong way. I want you to listen carefully to this guy, his literal cry for help. Listen.
Pretty good.
I feel the same way.
Good.
It hurts so bad. Well, fuck, it looks like it, dude. It looks like it.
Oh my God.
Anyway, that's it for us. Have a great day. Thanks, Linz.
Thanks, pal.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should go sleep off that hangover. Thanks for everything yesterday.
as well.
Really appreciate it. Great to see you. Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd podcast. Download it wherever you get your fine podcasts. Follow him on Twitter as well. He's a fucking great follow. Ryan Lindley, ladies and gentlemen. And thanks to this guy for rushing Dave Chapelle.
Pretty good.
That is the best. Have a great day, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to sign up for a newsletter at DeanBlundell.com. You can also, fucked around and found out is right, Clarice. Fucked around and found out, bud.
Pretty good.
Anyway, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, you can find us at DeanBlundell.com. Sign up for a newsletter there as well. Thanks to our friends and sponsors at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. Go to easyautofinancial.ca today. These guys are great people, and they help you get financing for a car, bad credit, no credit. Just want someone to take care of the purchasing process and the financing process so you don't have to do dick. These are the best people on the planet for that. easyautofinancial.ca. Go there today. Check them out. No obligation as well. Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch. We wear them, so should you. Ed's Fine Imports has been in business for a long time, and these are good people that believe in Canadian-made products, that they believe in the community. One of the biggest charitable donators on the planet, this guy, Ed and edsfineimports.com. He's got his own luxury branded underwear, Gitch, super comfortable boxer briefs, pouch in the front. I wear them, so should you. Do me a favor, order your man a pair, order yourself a pair. They're the most comfortable boxer briefs with the pouch in the front that you will ever wear. Canadian-made. Gitch3 is your promo code, so order them from edsfineimports.com. Use Gitch3. He'll send you a free pair of underwear when you buy 4 or more. Massive online store as well. Go to edsfineimports.com today. And, of course, domination.com. Dominate with your content by using domination.com, DMNTN.com. Try them for free. And then if you love them, which I know you will, you'll be able to do content in a matter of minutes instead of hours when it comes to creating promos and legacy content, etc., across all platforms. So if you're streamer, gamer, podcaster, you do online content, you got to use these guys. Give them a try for free today. Go to DMNTN.com.
Pretty good.
I can't get enough. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on this very program. We're packed. David Fissman will join us tomorrow. Epidemiologist, doctor, just all around good dude. And we're going to talk a little bit about COVID and masking. Yes, we're going back into that arena, but there's a real important point to it. So we're really excited to have Dave Fissman on tomorrow. And then on Friday, my friend David Moskrop. Bunch of Davids. David Moskrop will join us. He's back. Obviously, David's from the Washington Post. Great article on how Doug Ford is just fisting this province, by the way. So go check it out. We'll share it and put it in our description when we have him on the show on Friday. So again, Dave Fissman, David Moskrop, Thursday, Friday. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day. Really appreciate you being here, everybody. Be safe. Be kind. Support the ladies today. Bye.